Hey guys, so we are in the middle of a huge storm right now, but I am not about to let that stop me from making a video. So today, yesterday actually, I got a note and I got one of those little yellow cards in the mail saying that I had a package, which is weird because usually they throw like a locker key in your box, and um, they didn't do that this time, so I was really curious as to why, and I was in a bit of a rush to actually get there today before they close because Monday is a holiday, and I'm not about to wait until Tuesday to go get my package. That would um, just just drive me crazy. So I get there, and she whips out these two huge packages or parcels. And it became apparent to me that the reason she couldn't just put them in a locker is because they wouldn't have fit. Um, Sorry, someone's just driving by the house real slow. These snoopy neighbors, oh my god, you have no idea. Or maybe you do. Maybe you feel my pain. Um, but, God, where was I going with this? I know there's a story here. Hold on. Oh yeah, she had told me that there would have been room for both of these huge parcels in one locker. So today on Witch Please, we are going to be going over this huge parcel of books that I got today, and I hope you like it because I requested these books a while ago, and I think you'll really like them as well because if you're anything like me, you have an eye for quality rather than quantity. So stay tuned. Hey guys, so I started the film this last weekend, but um, it's been a real sort of Nine of Wands sort of weekend. Um, well, not so much on Saturday. On Saturday, I just couldn't get anything done whatsoever. I was being pulled in every direction imaginable all at once. People were asking me to get this done, get that done, and so on and so forth. But on Sunday, I had to go to Des Moines with my family, and I tell you, all I did was sit. I literally just sat down in the car, closed the door, and my brother started in on me, poking and prodding every single button I had. Just it was absolutely aggravating. So yesterday was absolutely a test of wills, of faith, really. You know, trying to find that inner spark, that inner fire within me. Um, yeah, so when we got home, I was really hoping for at least 5 minutes of absolute peace and quiet while I vented a little bit online. And do you think I could find it? Hell to no. Um, it seemed as though every neighbor on the entire street, on the entire block actually, was mowing their yard or doing some really loud, obnoxious yard work. And then the train just happened to just barrel on through town. Uh, Yesterday was just not fun whatsoever. Um, but if that weren't bad enough, while I was venting on my own Facebook page, which I am entitled to do, someone decided to shame me for doing so. Um, he he took the time to shame me as not being a real witch because I had personal problems in my own life, and I would like to defy him and anyone else um, to find a witch that has just a perfect, wonderful, happy-go-lucky life where nothing goes wrong. And he just kept at it and kept at it, saying that I'm not a real witch because I have personal problems in my own life. Bitch, please, I tried to explain to him that I am the sort of person that I've always thought of myself last. And I do. I think of myself last. When someone is in need, I will usually think of them ahead of myself. And that usually means that my own needs tend to um, fall down further and further on the list of what I feel like taken care of at the moment. And he wasn't having it, and finally I just said, screw it, and I just banned the guy. There is no excuse for really trolling someone else's Facebook page. That's like walking into their bedroom or walking into their house and giving you a piece of their mind. It's a little rude, to say the least. But I know that if you started to watch this video, listen to me, bitches, not why you wanted to stay tuned. Um, I just wanted to explain why I didn't get this video finished when I thought I would. So, on to the awesome books that I got this weekend, and I've really been having a ball just going through them all. So, in 2 seconds, I will get started with my review. Okay, first of all, before I get to the first book, I really wanted to thank Darlene B and Chandrika K for packing these parcels that came to me. Y'all did a really awesome job, and you probably deserve a raise. Okay, so thank you. They work at the Penguin Random House warehouse, and the last book that I will be reviewing today is actually the best book. So I hope you keep watching until the end. But the first book is Healing Magic: A Green Witch Guidebook to Conscious Living by Robin Rose Bennet, and this is the 10th anniversary edition. Actually, Robin Rose Bennet, I believe, if memory serves, is the herbalist that Susan Weed knows, and Susan Weed actually wrote the foreword to this book. But Robin Rose Bennet, I would have to look it up again, but I'm almost willing to bet that she is the one who researched the prophylactic qualities of Queen Anne's lace seed, wild carrot seed, as a form of birth control. But apparently, after a woman stops taking it, she is all of a sudden extremely fertile. She could get in, she could conceive just with a brisk breeze blowing by. That's how fertile the women become after ceasing Queen Anne's lace seed. But God, this book is actually really, really, really good. And if you see me glancing down at the back of it, it's because I have written a bunch of notes on a sticky note on on most of these books. Um, it's got it's got a fabulous chapter on herbal magic, including baths, incense, and intentions for herbs. There's a great chapter on spells, which include sections interspersed throughout dealing with ethics and do's and don'ts. Um, it covers the spells in here cover things such as love, money, home, dealing with attackers. It's got a great section on wort cunning, the medicinal properties of herbs. There are hand fasting rituals, Sabbath rituals throughout. There are rituals to release shame. You don't often see that in many books at all. There's a great chapter on moon magic and women's mysteries as well. Um, the only con in this book, and they're really extremely superfluous, is in the list of candle magic that she includes in the book in the spell section. Under the color gray, she attributes that color with friendship, which I'm not so sure that I actually agree with that, because to me at least the color gray is associated with neutralizing and even halting action in the same way that a glance from Medusa would turn you to stone. Because the color gray to me symbolizes stone, it symbolizes fog and mental confusion, and that sort of thing. So I'm not really sure why she associates the color gray with friendship, but if I'm able to ever contact her, that's something that I would definitely ask. Um, the only other very minor quibble is she um she includes a portion of the charge of the goddess, and she attributes it to Starhawk spoke the spiral dance. Unfortunately, that's not correct. Now she might have just been referencing the book from which she got it. Um, I don't know. I'm not in her mind. I can't tell what her motive thinking was. But the Charge of the Goddesses was actually written by Doreen Valiente, with certain sections influenced by the Prada Isis and the Golden Ass, and the Aradia texts by that was recorded by Charles Leland. But God, this is a really solid book, and I was really surprised, in spite of myself, how much I really liked it and enjoyed it. So this is definitely going to be going into my library. I am going to be turning to it again and again for great inspiration. And I really do recommend this book. Go out, get a copy, enjoy it, sit down with some tea, read it to your heart's content. You could probably finish it in about a weekend. Now, this next book is Herbal Allies, My Journey with Plant Medicine by Robert Rogers. And it is essentially um, one part memoir meets a few herbs associated with each lunar month. That's really all it is, basically. It's how he got started into herbal medicine, his journey with a Native American tribe, the Cree Nation, I believe. That's all there is to it. It's mostly Native American herbs that are covered. So if that's something that interests you, you would do well to buy a copy of this book, especially if you're the sort that really likes memoirs. In that vein is Matthew Wood's The Earthwise Herbal, Volume 2, a comprehensive, a complete guide to New World medicinal plants. And I have wanted this book for a while, only because I actually own the companion volume, the first volume, which is associated with Old World plants, the plants from Europe that were naturalized here in the U.S. and in Canada. Um, so yeah, that's really all it is. As you can see, it's a big book. It's got tons of information in it. When you read it, though, I would recommend that you really give it a thorough look through, because it's set up differently than a lot of herbals are these days, or what you may be used to. Now, also by Matthew Wood is a new book from last year called the Earthwise Herbal Repertory, the Definitive Practitioner's Guide, and it's a very unusual sort of book. It One thing I liked about it is that it included a series of questions to ask yourself or a prospective client when making a diagnosis or assessment of their needs in terms of herbal medicine. However, about at least 90% of the book is essentially set up as an index for um, uh, medicinal herbs. You will find that if you're looking up a particular system of the body, you would look that up, and then it will have, in paragraph-sized chunks, a list of all the herbs that affect that system. So it's really sort of a reference to herbs to look up when possibly making um, a, a herbal formula, or a symbol to use when I'm treating a symptom of the body or condition. So that's really all it is. It's hundreds of pages of just that. It's it may be useful to you. Otherwise, it's basically just an index. Okay, now we have Icelandic Herbs and Their Medicinal Uses by Anna Rosa Robertsdottir, with a foreword by Matthew Wood and Robert Rogers. This is actually a really interesting book. It is lavishly, there are just lavish photographs throughout, and it includes not only the native Icelandic herbs, of which there are many, but also the herbs that were naturalized and grow native in the Icelandic climate. So if anyone lives in Iceland, or if they are particularly interested in general medicinal herbalism, this is really quite a good book. It's got the uses of several herbs in there. It's gorgeous to flip through. It would make a good coffee table book for Herbalist. So, I really can't say much more about this book. It's really a unique take on the subject. Okay, this is the glory of the hall. It is Modern Herbal Dispensatory, a medicine making guide. I have wanted a copy of this book for a little while now, ever since I heard that it had been published. I cannot say enough good things about it. I cannot praise it more highly enough. So if you are a herbalist and interested in making medicine, buy a copy of this book. It's destined to become a classic, right alongside this book. This is the Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook, a home manual by James Green. And I've had this book for many years. It is actually, it is considered basically a textbook for herbalists on how to make their medicine. It is used in almost any class on the subject you can think of. It is actually there's a class on herbalism that occurs every summer at Ancient Ways in downtown Des Moines. They use this book primarily as the textbook for the course, and I can easily see this book not replacing James Green's book, but used in cooperation with it, because both books cover a lot of the exact same material, but they cover it in different ways, and they also offer more detail on certain areas than either book does. They they cover the same terrain in different ways. They occasionally cover different subjects that aren't included in either book. So yeah, they're both equally good. These authors have been teaching. Thomas Easley and Stephen Horne have been teaching for many years. Um, this book goes into what herbs work best with certain solvents and what do not. There's chapters and charts dealing with herbal preparations and herbal extraction, so you can see what types of herbs work best when. Um, there are advanced extraction methods given, such as Soxhlet and percolation extraction, as well as how to set up a jig for using those more advanced techniques. There's also a chapter on aromatherapy, which is lacking in James' book. Not that it's something that I personally practice. Now, chapter 11 is really why I bought this book at all. It's all about preparing herbal formulations, and it's really a chapter that was sorely lacking from James' book, as I recall. I don't think this book had a chapter on that subject. If it does, I've completely forgotten about it, and I'm totally spacing on it. So if it does, I'm sorry, James. I would really need to thumb through this book again to make absolute 100% sure that it doesn't. I had been interested in the concept of formula making for quite a while as a herbalist, because it's really not something that's discussed very often by herbalists, even though it really should be. I brought up the subject to a herbal discussing group on Facebook a while back, and one of the members sort of glibly dismissed me, saying that I needed to learn about the body, as though I were some elementary level herbalist, which was really quite a bit offensive. You know, I was asking a serious question, and I expected a serious answer, not one that was so glib as that. Um, I was hoping to find a book that might go into details about let's say that you wanted to prepare something that was that the primary focus was the primary herb was an adaptogen. Well, you might want to choose some supporting herbs such as a carminative or an antispasmodic. Just as you know, just those are just total off the top examples, you know. And her answer was completely unsatisfactory. I don't feel as though she had really understood what I was getting at. It's obvious to any herbalist that that to begin prescribing anything, you obviously need to know about the body. She didn't seem to really be taking my sincere question very seriously. But the example I gave is sort of what I was getting at, and this herb goes into this goes into that subject um, in a bit more of a generic fashion. Let me give you an example. Um, okay, it breaks down the process by choosing between 2 and 3 herbs for your formulation, and starting with the key herb. Then it gives you information on choosing a supporting herb or herbs, and then using a balancing or even a harmonizing herb. I would call it a catalyst herb, because it's a term I'm familiar with using as a witch. Of course, it even goes into catalysts and determining parts, as well as determining dosages in this book, which is something that really isn't discussed by James Green in his book. Not that I recall anyway. But yeah, that's the sort of information that I was really looking for when I asked that question, because to my knowledge, no one who's written a book on herbal medicine making has discussed that subject, and it's really refreshing to see a book that has. So if you haven't bought a book on herbal medicine making yet, I highly recommend this one. Actually, I recommend them. I recommend both of these books. They're by different publishers, and I really recommend using them in tandem with each other, because they really can be used in tandem. One book isn't really better than the other. They are equally good, and I recommend them equally highly. I cannot recommend them more highly enough. If anyone has any interest in herbal medicine making, get these books. They are phenomenal resources. Um, However, there's a slight caveat. One of the primary differences in um, the modern herbal dispensatory and James Green's The Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook is this book is all about herbal medicine making, and knowledge of the medicinal values of herbs is taken as a given by Green. So he doesn't really devote much space to herbalism, to the medicinal values of herbs. However, this book devotes about half its volume to a, a, a medicinal herbal. So that is also a strength as well as a weakness. It's a weakness in the sense that the authors could have spent a little more time on the medicinal making process. I think it, it detracted from the limited space allowed in the in the total book, in a sense, meaning that they could have devoted a little more space, I think, to the process of herbal medicine making. Honestly, if I had to recommend this book, I would say buy this book first, and then get yourself a copy of James Green's book. That would just be my preference. You're free to do as you choose. Both books are extremely good. I cannot praise them more highly enough. Get out there, go buy a copy. Just hand your money over to the next bookseller. Say, take my money. I want this book. You need this book. I really don't have any criticisms of it. The only criticism I have of this book is its discussion of ginkgo biloba. The authors said that the only medicinal value of the ginkgo biloba herb has been the standardized extract of certain phytochemicals from the plant itself. And the authors really don't explain how a home herbalist or herbal medicine maker should be expected to extract that from the plant, since you cannot get it from the leaf itself or any of the herbal products that we have available to us that are created from that leaf, such as the tincture or the powder or the little herbal capsules. So that was really the only drawback to the book that I have found so far. Um, Otherwise, it's golden. It's bound to be a classic. So get a copy, read it, use it, put it to use. I am one complaint of mine over the years has been the witches and the herbalists that buy books, but they don't seem to actually put them to use. To me, that seems like a waste of a good book. And if you're going to buy something, don't just read it and put it down and go on to the next thing. Put that book into practical use. So that's all I have to say. That's been my review. It was a fabulous haul this week. So until I see you again, keep calm and witch on.